2,000 years ago, a man was executed in the most brutal way imaginable, and somehow that execution is supposed to change your life today. How does that even work? Because if you do not understand what happened on the cross, Christianity just looks like a religion about a dead guy. But if you understand it, it becomes the most powerful news you've ever heard. I grew up around church, I wore crosses, I knew the basic story, but it was not until someone explained to me what actually happened that it finally clicked. I want to explain the cross in a way that actually makes sense, not with religious language, but with something you can actually feel. Because the cross is not about God pushing Jesus, it's about God doing the only thing that could fix what has been broken. Most people think of the relationship with God like trying to climb a ladder. Be good, do the right thing, maybe eventually you can reach heaven. But the gap between us and God is not a ladder problem, it's a canyon, and we're standing on the wrong side with no way to get across. Picture it this way: there is a God on one side, perfect, holy, the source of all life, and there is us on the other side, broken, selfish, turned inwards. Between us is this gap that we cannot cross no matter how hard we try. Every religion tries to build a bridge from one side to his. More meditation, more good deeds, more spiritual practices, but the gap is just too wide. The cross is God building the bridge from his side to ours. And here's the thing, this was not an accident. This was not plan B after something went wrong. 700 years before Jesus was even born, the prophet Isaiah wrote this: "But he was pierced for our transgressions, he was crushed for our iniquities. The punishment that brought us peace was on him, and by his wound we are healed." Pierced, crushed, wounded, written 700 years before it happened. The cross was always the plan. You cannot reach God through efforts, but God can reach you through grace. That is what the cross represents, God doing what you could not do. Some people think Jesus died just to show us how much God loved us, like a demonstration or an example. But the cross was not just a display, it was an exchange. Jesus took what we deserved so we could receive what he deserved. Think about a debt. If you owe a debt that you can never pay, the only options are to be crushed by it or for someone else to pay it for you. There is no third option where the debt just disappears. On the cross, Jesus paid a debt he did not owe because we owed a debt we could not pay. The separation, the consequences of all our self-centeredness, he took all of that onto himself. And in exchange, we get his standing with God, forgiveness accepted and welcomed. There is a verse that captures this better than anything else I have ever read. God made him who had no sin to be sin for us, so that in him we might become the righteousness of God. Do you see the swap? Jesus had no sin, but he became sin for us. And we who had no righteousness, we became righteousness for God in him. That is the exchange. This is why Christianity is not about trying harder. The debt is already paid. The bridge is already built. The question is whether you'll walk across it. If the story ended at the cross, it would just be another tragic death. But Jesus did not stay dead, and the resurrection proved that what happened on the cross actually worked. Think about it. If Jesus paid the debt for sin, and sin's ultimate consequence is death, then him walking out of the tomb proves that the debt is fully paid. Death could not hold him. The transaction was complete. That's why Christians are not followers of a dead teacher. We follow someone who beat death and who offers that same victory to us. The resurrection is not a feel-good addition to the story. It is the proof that everything Jesus said was true and everything he accomplished was effective. He's not a dead martyr, he is a living savior. I used to think the cross was a symbol, something religious people wore around their necks. Then I understood what actually happened there. God doing for me what I could never do for myself, and that changed everything. But understanding what Jesus did is one thing. Actually responding to this is something else. What does it actually look like to surrender to God? And that is what the next video is about.